Chapter 85. It took several tense, drawn-out, terrible moments for Sully to traverse all the way down the empty office building to the street below. In the intervening time, he anxiously worried for his friend, the Time Lord. Sully had seen the alien survive when any normal human simply wouldn't be able to. For instance, when Traveler was shot twice, once in the neck, once in the stomach, and the stranger in the cobalt suit pulled the damn bullets out himself. Early morning chill enveloped the retired Commodore when he managed to break through an emergency exit and reach the street. As best he could with his tired old legs, Sully ran to the other side, unsure of what awaited him. The scene was not what he expected, or what he hoped for. Mr. Blue was in shambles, seriously injured. Orange blood splatter contrasted his battered azure suit. The alien's eyes were wide, desperate, and in agonizing pain. Sully reluctantly looked over to D3. Unfortunate though it was, she was worse. He knew neither of them had much time left. Suddenly he was overwhelmed with confusion and anger. Was he now to be stranded here? How in the name of God could poor D3 have deserved this? Why had Traveler taken him all over the cosmos just to dump him back in London? In the wrong bloody decade. Mr. Blue was trying to say something to Sully, yet he kept coughing, kept bleeding. The retired Commodore maintained his composure, kneeling next to his dying friend. He took a deep breath, gripped the Time Lord's hand in his. Mr. Blue managed to look over at Dawn Rothlanders III. His eyes began to... The Time Lord forced his watering eyes back to Sully.
My time is almost up,
Mr. Blue whispered.
Things are going to be very different now.
Because he didn't want to weep, Sully became angry again.
Don't you bloody well die on me now, you blue bastard! After all this, what did this Cedal, D3 or whatever the hell her name is, drag you both over the ledge? What am I to do now?
The retired Commodore felt one tear, then two, trickle down his cheek, despite his rage.
Easy, old boy,
Mr. Blue whispered.
Everything will be fine.
And the Time Lord gently placed one shattered hand on the side of Sully's now wet face. Mr. Blue locked eyes with the retired Commodore.
Thank you, Sully Brontworth.
Sully felt relieved. His lungs expanded sharply, and his tears dried. Despite himself, he was calm.
For what?
Being my friend.
Mr. Blue sighed.
You just rest easy. You just...
It's time for another trip.
No, you daft old...
Shall we?
Sully watched Mr. Blue, with his very last reserve of will, reach over and grip D3's hand. Traveler became very still. Then, he was gone. Before Sully had any chance to absorb or reconcile this, the Time Lord's body erupted in illumination. It was as if someone had detonated a bomb of pure scarlet energy. The impact of it resounded deeply, thunderously, and Sully was flung away onto his back. It was so bright, the crimson electrical current crackling about the body, that he could not seem to perceive anything else. Sully couldn't hear anything else, couldn't even think of anything else except this voluminous explosion of brilliant red light. Just as he thought he might lose consciousness from the abrupt intensity of the onslaught to his senses, the gleaming scarlet and crimson tornado of lucent electricity faded. Once more, all was quiet. Sully groaned as he forced himself up to a seated position. After coughing a fit and rubbing his eyes till they hurt, till he could almost see again, the retired Commodore was able to creak up to one knee, then eventually stand. At first, he thought perhaps the old Time Lord had played a trick on him, replaced himself with some other bloke, as a prank. Maybe next, Mr. Blue would come running around the corner and regale Sully with how he'd managed to win yet another, conceivably unwinnable situation. Yet, laying on the ground in his place, now was a much younger man, middling in height, wiry. He had dark brown hair where Miss Blue had sported platinum. The stranger's face was thin, clean-cut, and gaunt, whereas Miss Blue had a round, cherub-like visage along with a small beard. What Sully found most odd about this new man were his clothes. Rather than the kobold he recognized, this stranger was wearing a crisp, brand new red suit, complete with crimson tie. Suddenly, the man in red bolted upright, awakened. Sully stepped back. He warily observed as crimson energy pulsed and snaked around the alien. Then, the man in red opened his gleaming scarlet eyes.
Right. This is where I come in.